Nigerians will vote for new leaders at different levels next year. And of course, campaigns have started in earnest at the national and state levels, with candidates and their political parties unveiling their manifestos to sway the electorate and secure their votes. This is amid claims and counterclaims by political actors on whether those that held sway in corridors of power in the last 4 or 7 years have done enough to the people to deserve re-election or opportunity to have their preferred candidates take over from them. This is Daily Politics, and I'm Hamza Idris. Welcome to the program. Tonight, we will be interfacing with Dr. Sani Dawop. He is the governorship candidate of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, in Plateau State. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here. Viewers,
yes.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We will take a short break now, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. I have Dr. Sani in the studio. Once again, welcome to Daily Trust TV.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in Daily Trust, and I want to congratulate Daily Trust for this television station. It's a milestone, and it's a timely program and intervention into the polity in Nigeria.
Okay.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. You are from Plateau State.
Yes.
And you want to be the governor of Plateau State.
Yes.
Why under the platform of ADP? Maybe I should start from here.
Thank you very much for that question. By providence, I've been through politics right for the past 31 years.
31?
Yes. Under tutelage, I started as a personal assistant to a governorship candidate, then NRC PDP,
Okay.
SDP.
That was during
Babangida. Babangida.
Yeah.
So I was a PA.
The options were limited.
Exactly.
2 parties.
That's where I started. And I took a break, came back in 2007 to contest the chairmanship of my local government. And I will tell you, I was rigged out. As politicians always say, they don't accept that they lose.
2007. That was under PDP, if I get
Under
it.
PDP,
Yeah.
I contested chairmanship of my local government.
Mangu.
Mangu, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I never had the opportunity to fly the party's ticket, but I came second, according to them, in that primary election. And I say, he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
Yeah.
And the opportunity has come up again. And I'm contested under ADP because ADP provides a different platform. I've been through, like I said, PDP for 8 years, from 2007 to 2015, and then left the PDP to join the APC.
Oh, you also joined APC?
Yes, I joined APC. From 2015, I was one of the foot soldiers. I organized a fundraising for Governor Lalong in Abuja, even before he became the governor in 2015 here in Abuja.
You?
And it was the greatest and the only fundraising that APC had. It's on record. You can go and check that. The only fundraising in 2015 for APC that we did. Very successful in Abuja. I initiated it and anchored it and successfully executed. And that was a support. So I was there for another 8 years.
Wow.
But midway into the first time of the governor, I was not so pleased with their accomplishments. So in 2019, I left and supported the candidate of the Action Democratic Party.
In Plateau?
In Plateau, because for me, he was a better candidate in 2019. And by providence, I now find myself
to be the
candidate of this same party. But I tell you again, ADP was not the first party I wanted to join when I decided to contest the governorship.
Okay.
I still started with APC.
For the governorship?
For the governorship of Plateau. I did my declaration at the polling unit level, at the ward level, at the local government level, did all my declarations, well received, and then I met with the state chairman of APC, Rufus Bature, to prepare for my state declaration. And after that, I left, and through our research, we got intelligence that there was not going to be a level playing field.
This was a few months back, right?
Yes, this was in April.
Okay.
So in April, I decided to resign from APC formally on the 20th, and on the 22nd of April, I joined the Action Democratic Party as a member and decided I was going to contest under the platform of the ADP. But meanwhile, I had explored other parties, but I decided ADP was the best alternative. Even from their slogan, they said the credible alternative.
And I saw
that is what we want to provide to Plateau State.
They have book as the
excellent
logo, right?
Excellent.
Okay.
You know, when you look at the logo of PDP, is an umbrella. You need an umbrella only during the rainy season. Here, most people don't find it comfortable to use umbrellas under the sun. And then the broom, of course, you use that only to sweep dirt. And who creates the dirt? The same people, you know. But for
so
the
you want to sweep them.
Exactly. So what we need to do, the ADP knowledge, because if you give people education, when people are knowledgeable, even if you build the best structures and people do not have knowledge to maintain and manage them, they will be destroyed and they will be rendered useless. So in ADP, our logo is a hand-holding book that's providing knowledge, leadership, guidance, light, and progress.
But Dr. Sadi, at what level did you part ways with Governor Lalong?
Yeah, interesting question. Now, when I was working with an international NGO,
Bill and
Melinda Gates Foundation, I was privileged to be the desk officer in charge of government relations.
Okay.
And there was this new hub group of China that was visiting Plateau. I mean, they were visiting Nigeria, actually. Plateau was not on the program of the foundation, you know? And I said, oh, these guys are coming to establish a company into animal feed production. And if you are talking of that, the major raw material is maize. So after Kaduna State, which was actually penciled down for the visit, and Ogun State, I said, Plateau needs to be on that program. And I spoke with the country director, and she said, why not? And so I was able to convince her that we should put Plateau. But I said, first, let me call the governor and know whether he will be ready to receive this delegation. And then we can now confirm the arrangement for them to visit Plateau. So, you know, then I had already supported the governor, worked for him, so I've become close to him. Yeah, and we were on talking terms very frequently. So I gave him a call. I said, hey, there's this group of investors coming from China, the New Hope Group of China, the largest agribusiness company in China, then with an annual turnover of $15 billion.
Wow. And
they were coming to establish a company in this, and Plateau has the raw materials. Would you like to receive the delegation? He said, oh, that will be fine. So we arranged, we visited Plateau State. We even spent the night. He received us well. Okay. And the next thing was for them to follow up with a letter of, you know, comfort, some kind of commitment that the government is not to put one kobo. Okay. They are to put in their all investments. And the initial investment was about $200 million. And that would increase in 5 years to about $500 million. And I kept following up after the visit that
for the letter do this
letter to come out, and nothing came out. So I became highly disappointed. Honestly, that started saying, are we really serious as a government? And me coming in here with the kind of background that I have, I'm in business, I'm a result-oriented person. So, but that didn't even part ways with me. He had the opportunity to visit the largest conglomerate in Africa, the Dangote Group. Yeah. And he sought investment.
Where you work.
Yeah. Where he sought investments, you know, in Plateau State. And a team was set up, did some survey and gave some recommendations, but that too, nothing happened.
Is it that he didn't delegate? Because these are simple things that, of course, the governor cannot write the commitment and all that.
I don't know his leadership style, but I can tell you that they are not styles that produce results.
Anyway, back to your party.
So these are the premises and backgrounds that I parted ways with him.
Okay, and now you want to take over from him. And
apart from that, of course, we had this experience. There's an transformation plan that was done in Ethiopia, which has revolutionized agriculture. Today in Ethiopia, they even have a Ministry of Livestock. So
apart from Ministry of Agriculture,
exactly,
people have been making calls.
You know,
for that in
Nigerians, we have our own funny ways of doing things and thinking. And so this idea was sought to this Plateau state government if they could do it. But the same thing, it fell flat. And that was the end. I said,
but once
no, I'm done with that.
Once you go through the governor, maybe the SSG, you know, chief of staff and all that, they're supposed to do some of these things on behalf of the governor.
Well, the governor delegates. Whatever you do, whatever you write, it still ultimately comes to him.
Most likely.
So if you have opportunity
most
to
likely he's
even meet
busy
with
because
him,
as chairman of the Northern Governors Forum.
No, then he was not the chairman of the Northern Governors
Okay.
Forum. That was his first time.
Okay.
Yes, and all these things happened during his first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during the second time, did he attempted to reach out to you?
At all, nothing. Because I had already parted ways. I supported a different candidate in 2019, but I was still on talking terms with him. I'm still on talking terms with him. Send him messages. If something happens in Plateau, it's my state.
Okay. But
I'll send a message and show my concern.
Doctor, don't you think your ambition is huge? Because ADP is really not known in Plateau State. And
Yes.
you don't have a member of the State Assembly, no senator, no House of Reps. Do you think magic will happen overnight?
It does, and it can happen. When CPC came, they didn't have a single governor in 2011.
You're talking about Tabgun?
When CPC came...
I'm talking about Plateau State because...
Yes, I'm giving you an analogy.
Okay.
Yes, when CPC came, they didn't have a single governor in 2011. But Al-Makuraf won, and he was the only governor in CPC. So I'm going to win to be the only governor.
You're talking about
with others
he was in Nasarawa. I'm talking about Plateau because I know the complexities there.
Yes.
Of course, we had diarrhea under PDP for 8 years.
Yes.
Then we had junk under PDP, right? Even though he defected when he was unable to this thing. Now you have Lalong, who is rounding up under APC. Don't you think that the people are used to these two dominant political parties and it will be difficult for them to switch to ADP?
Okay, one interesting thing that you may not know is that even APC, when it came, particularly in the Plateau, there were seasoned politicians that were approached to pick the ticket of the party, and they declined. Lalong was not the first choice.
You want to say he was an accidental governor?
You said it. So,
no.
Like Erufai said, he was an accidental person. So honestly, I mean, that was how he became the governor. And he picked the challenge, and today it's history. He did first time and this second time. So we would create history by the grace of God because people are desiring change. Now I can tell you on the lips of the average Nigerian, it's not about political party, but it's about the candidate. Who can deliver? Who has the capacity? Who has the experience? Who has the exposure? That's very critical for the transformational leadership that we need to bring in Plateau State.
But how can ADP be different from APC and PDP?
I'm the candidate. That's the difference.
Are you different from other politicians?
Absolutely. Now, look
Doctor,
at
you were in PDP.
Yes.
When you couldn't make it, or you said you were rigged out, you moved to APC.
Yes.
It wasn't rousy.
Yes.
Now you moved to ADP. This is what almost all politicians are doing. So how can you actually make me believe that you are different from them?
Now, when I was in PDP, the only position I contested was chairmanship, and I never got it. So I never got any appointment. I never had any opportunity for 8 years in PDP to test my competence or incompetence. That is it. But go my public service record, 14 years in the Federal Public Service, 2 years in the Federal Inland Revenue Service as an Inspector of Taxes, and then 13 and a half years in the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. I rose to become Head of Planning, Research and Statistics in the office, and I completely revived a department that was completely dead. For 9 years was dead, the Department of PRS.
What department was that?
I turned it around, the Department of Planning, Research and Statistics in the Office of,
Auditor
I was
General.
saddled with that responsibility, and in 7 months, I transformed the department such that when I resigned to join politics, a full deputy director was brought in to replace me. And I was just a middle-level officer.
And you think you can replicate this in Plateau State?
Now, very interesting. My present role as a general manager in Dangote Group has been eventful. I started in Dangote Sugar, moved to Dangote Transport, moved to Dangote Rice.
That's private sector.
Department. Yes.
You see,
now let me tell you,
okay.
just hold it. I gave you the experience in the public sector, and that was government, nothing different. But the leadership qualities that I brought in to bear into that position transformed the department and revived it, and it's fully on and working perfectly. And let me tell you, the problem in Nigeria is not only the institution. You need to provide leadership by example. You need to do that.
Yeah, which is
if you don't do that,
glaringly
forget about it. There's nothing you, even in your own family, if you don't lead by example and you want to, you know, beckon or you want to caution any of your children, you say, Daddy, come on, look at your back.
But you see, so, you have succeeded, agreed, in public sector. You are succeeding now in private sector, if I get it right. But you know, life of politicians is completely different. Immediately they transform to politicians from technocrats, forget it. They rarely succeed because the terrain is different, the challenges are different. How close are you to like minds who will actually help you actualize or replicate the successes you recorded in the public sector and in the private sector while serving as a politician? I
give you as an example, there are so many success stories. Governor Zulum of Borno State is a good success story. He's in the public sector. Even the governor of Nasarawa State is a good success story. He's doing very well in Nasarawa State. And these are people who are doing very well. Let me tell you one thing. If you do not, first of all, have a plan before you come in, if you find yourself accidentally in office, you do not have a plan, then you would govern as a pilot. It will just be...
So you're joining the ADP is not by accident?
No, it's not by accident. It's deliberate. I decided after all the parties available, after searching through, after consultations, I decided that ADP is the party to be. And ADP is the party to be.
But you see...
Now, even in the 2019 elections, ADP came third in Plateau State.
Okay, after PDP.
APC came
PDP,
first, PDP, then ADP came third. So ADP has a better structure even in Plateau State than all the other parties you are mentioning. So we're on a good ground, on a good footing. We're just reviving the structures now, and we now have everything in place. All the local government structures are in place in terms of councils.
Have you fielded candidates for all other positions?
We fielded all candidates for all the positions. Yes. It's just unfortunate there was some lacuna in INEC that some of the names of our candidates for House of Reps didn't feature, just 2 Senate candidates. But for all the House of Assembly, we have all the 24, and then myself for the governorship and the deputy governorship candidate.
But you see, in Nigeria especially, politicians rarely make it up there without godfathers. Who are yours?
God is my godfather. Now, in politics, yes, you need the support of everyone that matters. You need the support of even the ordinary citizen, the ordinary electorate who has a vote. So the godfather can work and it may not work all the time. And it's
but you know, God uses people.
Of course.
People must be instrumental to this transition to your success. In Plateau, who are close to you? Or you are the godfather trying to now move together with other people?
Not really. I'm not the godfather. I'm the leader of the party. I mean, I'm not the leader of my position that I'm contesting as the governorship candidate. Of course, we have our own party chairman and all the rest. But when you provide strategic leadership, when you are visionary, when you know what you're doing, and I can tell you, even the godfathers you are talking about, they will key into what you are doing. And we've just started. The game has started. The ball has just been rolled. And I assure you that within the next few months, within the next few weeks,
we will know
are going to
people
notice
behind you.
Exactly. Of course. But they will show up. They will show up. Those who are behind me, they will show up.
Lalong has brought Nentawe, if I get it right.
Yes.
I know the guy. He worked at INEC and all that. Do you think you have the wherewithal
Yes.
to defeat the candidate of the governor?
Let me tell you, the wherewithal is not about money. The wherewithal is the power of the voter, the electoral strength, the electoral power of the voter to exercise his right. That is the greatest wherewithal you need. What you just need in terms of the party machinery probably are those agents representation, party representation with the electoral agency, which we all have all those structures. And I can tell you the greatest wherewithal is to have the people and the people behind you.
And how far have you gone in reaching out to people? I know the diversity in Plateau State.
Yes.
And all that. What are you doing to actually appeal to various sentiments in the state?
Absolutely, that is desirable, that is needed. We've been doing that and we're continuing to do that. And we will reach out to all the key stakeholders that matter in Plateau politics. We will reach out to them, and we're already reaching out to quite a number of them, and we will continue to reach out to them. And don't forget that I've been in this game for more than 30 years. I'm 56 years today. At 26 years, people become governors, hold ministerial positions. 30 years into this game, I've been involved all through, and I've been involved at gubernatorial level, very locally. You know, so
but Doctor,
we are reaching out and
beyond
Nentawe,
there are other 4, because I think there are 6 strong candidates whose names are being mentioned, including yourself. If you think that Nentawe might not be a serious stumbling block, what about the other candidates from Labour Party? You have for PDP, you know, PRP, APC, and all that. Yeah.
Well, I think there are 2 candidates in this election.
Okay.
Dr. Sani Dawop and others. That's what I will tell you.
but people are watching. They may not really agree with what you are saying, because other candidates are also selling their candidature, telling people how they are going to do things differently. And this might be a big challenge, I'm sure.
We have our manifesto clearly laid out. We have a 3-point agenda.
Okay.
It's not 7-point, 20-point agenda that matters.
Okay.
We have a clear, precise 3-point agenda for Plateau State.
What are they?
First, security and sustainable peace. And the second is economic revitalization. And the third is social and infrastructure development. Now, I'll give you a little explanation on this.
Okay.
In terms of security and sustainable peace, why did we say sustainable peace?
Because there has been achievement already?
Exactly. No, because the peace has not been sustained. Intermittently, you have a lot of security
but
breaches.
Doctor, I think it is the showcase achievement of Lalong, wherever he goes, when they ask him, what is your biggest achievement in Plateau State, he will say restoration of peace.
Is it only in Plateau State? On average, I can tell you, that he can say, but I can tell you, you cannot attribute that completely to Lalong.
Okay,
you will
how?
attribute it mostly to the people's desire that they need peace back in Plateau State. Lalong, how many times, most of the time he junkets around, he's here and there. I mean, I can tell you, the Plateau people have decided that they want to live in peace. Intermittently, there will be attacks here and there, but by and large, the people are tired of all the incessant killings that have been taking place, burning and destruction of properties. So when these things are happening, there are cases that do happen quite all right. So if you are talking about giving him all the credit, so are you also saying that all those other attacks that have happened in the other villages in outskirts of the city, you give it him? What he has done most of the time is once there's breakdown of law and order, he just declares a state of emergency.
But people would like to know in specific terms what you will do differently.
Now, I tell you, I said, that's our first point. Security and sustainable peace. We will integrate the stakeholders into the administration of security in Plateau State. There's no way you can achieve security without integrating people. The kinetic and the non-kinetic, that's the brute force and the non-force. You need to bring them in. There's no way you can bring peace when people are hungry, when there's unemployment, when there's crime, when there's poverty, there's no way you can bring security and peace. So if you do not address that, this is one thing I have learned. Don't forget, I've gone to the Nigeria Defense Academy in Kaduna, where I acquired a master's degree in strategy and security administration.
Okay.
That has exposed me to understanding security much better than the average Nigerian thinking about security. That gives me a great advantage in this case looking for leadership for Plateau State. Now, the traditional rulers, secondly again, the traditional rulers, very often, we just use them only when there are issues, when the crisis has gone violent, and you now bring them to do the damage control. That's not what it's supposed to be. We shouldn't just use them only as custodians of culture. We should integrate them. We should build sustainable stakeholder engagements all through and give them even some roles constitutionally, if you put it that way.
Yes, before we get to that, I know Plateau State has been bedeviled with crisis since 2001 or thereabouts.
It started September 2001, yes.
Yes, and especially politicians, they used to dodge in answering questions on the root cause of this crisis, and that is why we've been with it for how many decades now. Now, can you shed light on how you are going to galvanize the diverse people in Plateau State? Because the allegation is that certain categories of people have been isolated, and that is why you keep having issues. Some people feel that they do not belong in Plateau State, and politicians don't want to talk on this. Will you talk on this?
Now, that's why I'm telling you, I said, if you do not integrate people into governance, give them sense of belonging, carry them along, you will not succeed. That's very, very important. Now, the dichotomies that you have here and there,
they say indigene settler dichotomy. What will you do on that?
They are not necessary. Now, where there is injustice, where there is lack of fairness, where there's no equity, where there's no rule of law, you're going to have all imperfection and inept leadership. But where you provide all this, I can tell you the agitations and all the ill feelings will just fritter away. And don't forget also, most of these crises that do happen, there have been a lot of commissions of inquiry that have been set up. What has happened to the reports of the committees? You know, these are issues. When you study this critically, you look at these recommendations, very laudable recommendations, but to what extent have they been implemented? And
so
another thing is
that
when people commit crime and you let them go scot-free, the tendency is that they will repeat it, or it doesn't serve as deterrent because nobody is punished. So when you go to develop crimes, that's the difference. That's why they have security, because there's rule of law. Even if you are a president and you are found guilty, you will face the law and face the music. If it requires you being jailed, you will be jailed. That is lacking.
I remember in 1999 when Dari was about becoming governor. Many saw him as a unifier, going by his experience as someone who worked at the private sector, I think, Benue Cement and all that, chartered accountant. The crisis started with him, and it persisted during Jang. What assurance will you give people? Because some are saying it's beyond the governor. The crisis in Plateau State is actually deeply entrenched in certain interests. Do you think you will demystify that interest?
What are those interests?
Well, I don't know, but this is the allegation that most of the governors, even Jang, I said it earlier, you know, he wanted to contest against Dari. He went to ANPP, if I remember.
Yeah, that was 2003. He contested under ANPP.
And then he made a very good move, but could not make it, you know. And then later people think, going by his background and all that, he will make a good governor. But at the end of the day, he turned out to be worse than his predecessor.
Now, if somebody has a predetermined mind, a preconception. And my kind of exposure is totally different. I have worked in multicultural environments, both international, global standards organizations, global organizations, where we know that the value of working in a multicultural environment is very paramount for you to succeed. We will employ that in Plateau State. I've done it at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I've done it at the United Nations during my consultancy in Ethiopia. I've done it also in the NGO that I'm running, the International Institute for Training, Research and Economic Development.
And you replicated
and then
your
my own experiences. And like in my NGO, we have people of diverse combinations, even from different walks of life in Nigeria. For example, in my NGO...
We will discuss that, Dr. Sani.
Yeah.
Maybe we take a short break now, because I can see that you have more to say on how to resolve some of these intractable problems in Plateau State. Viewers, we've been discussing with Dr. Sani Dawop, the ADP gubernatorial candidate in Plateau State. We'll take a short break now. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Remember, you can follow the conversation on our various social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. All this while, we've been interacting with Dr. Sani Dawop. He's the ADP gubernatorial candidate in Plateau State. Before we went on break, Doctor, you said you are cosmopolitan, meaning you are Abuja politician. If I get
Not
you right.
an Abuja politician. I'm a grassroots politician. Don't forget, I started my politics from the grassroots.
But now you live in
Contesting
Abuja.
the chairman, not
When last did you visit home?
Working is different from having contact with your people and connecting with your people.
Okay.
I just left just yesterday to come into Abuja. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm a grassroots politician, very much connected with the home. Okay. And I'm not somebody who...
Because some people believe that
with
most politicians, they come to Abuja to make promises, to consult people. In fact, even their people, they invite them to Abuja for meetings. How often, do you go to now talk to the people and to assure them that when you become governor, you will live in Jos, you will live at Rayfield Government House to govern them?
Those are some of the leadership qualities that a leader must exhibit. You must connect with your people. You must stay with your people. That's very paramount. I have my home in my village.
In Mangu?
In Mangu.
Okay.
And whenever I visit, I stay right there. I sleep right there. I don't go to sleep in a hotel. I don't sleep in Jos and go to my village. If I have something to do in Jos, I stay in Jos, do it in Jos. If I have something to do in Abuja, I go to Abuja, do it, come back. You understand? If I have something to do in Lagos, go and do it. But I always connect with my people. I'm always connected.
And there is a section of people that believe that without them, nobody can become governor. I remember recently there was an advertisement by Jos Al Ummah Consultative Forum. They said this time around, they are not going to vote on party basis, but based on the credentials of individuals, because they have been giving votes to people only for those people to now turn their backs against them. I'm talking about people living in Jos. city. Today they say there are no roads, no water, no electricity. How will you carry them along?
That's what I'm telling you. The first thing is you must have a program as a governor.
Yeah.
What you want to do. Don't forget, I told you about our 3-point agenda. And the third is the social and infrastructure development, where we are going to address the issue of roads, education, health, water supply, electricity. Those are the cardinal areas that we are going to address. And we will be equitable. Now, when you come and you are lopsided, and you do not take the whole state as your constituency, and in taking the whole state as a constituency, you break your budget. I give you a simple example. If you are voting, let's say, for example, we are voting 10 billion for road construction in the state, we will prioritize. And in prioritizing, we must make sure that the senatorial districts have equitable share of the budget, have reasonable share, that the impact of the investment or expenditure in that area will be reflected across the various senatorial districts, down to local governments and down to even communities and areas. And you see, development is not something that happens once off. In the first 4 years and in the first year of your tenure, you already have a plan of even the roads you want to construct based on the resources available. You go in the second year, you scale it up and say, we have done this in the first level. In this second year, these are the new roads that we are going to develop in this year. In the third year, you have it. Before we completely take off, we would have completed our development plan for 4 years in the
You need the buy-in of the people. And all over the world, people are aware that in Plateau, people are sharply divided along religious lines, Muslims, Christians. What will you do to bring them together? And you have examples, specifics that you will do so that they will now key into your project to allow you to execute some of these things you have in your manifesto.
Now, let me take you a little back to the other question that you asked. Some people believe that without them, nobody can be governor or something like that. I'll tell you it's simple. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Okay.
Give them their due respect. Consult them as the need arises, but do what is right and what is for the benefit of the people majorly. It's not to say that you ignore them. It's not to say that
you are sliding.
So you carry both of them. You need to balance. Now, what we were going to do very differently, I've told you about my background and my exposure. I come from a family where we are both Christians and Muslims.
Okay, you?
Yes.
In Mangu?
In Mangu. Come to Mangu. That is how we are. For example, my father's brother was a Christian.
Okay.
My father, a Muslim. That's how, and we live together, we celebrate together.
During Christmas,
Salah, and we attend each other's weddings. When we lost somebody, we sorrow together. When there's happiness, we share the joy together. That's how we live. And I will tell you, Mangu has been a shining example.
Yeah, because I wanted to say, of course, there is this peace aura around Mangu, Gendiri, you know.
Now, I'm fortunate to come from the royal family of Mangu.
Okay.
So, coming from that family, it's our legacy in the family that we live in peace with everybody. And all the crises that had happened in Plateau, if you want to react, the simple thing is that our district head will tell you, please go to that place where they are fighting and fight. Don't fight in my own land. You understand? That has substantially brought peace in Mangu and doused tension. And there's engagement, regular engagement with the people. And there's something about early warnings in terms of crisis. It doesn't just erupt. It gives a signal. Most of the crises are caused either by communal issues, political, ethno-religious reasons. This I have studied theoretically while doing my master's in at NDA. And in reality,
you have to use this.
I have to use
I want
that
to ask
knowledge.
you this question because you see, Lalong too, he has been commended for trying to, douse tension, carry people from across the divide along, but serious resistance. A very simple example was his attempt to rebuild the Jos main market by going into partnership with Jais Bank. But it's now appearing to be history. Somebody went to court that he's going to Islamize Plateau State. And this is a serious problem. How are you going to approach it? That market will remain like that till eternity since 2001?
Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. I don't know the approach he used, but if I'm the one, I would do it totally different. The first thing I will do is I will publicly advertise for anybody who is qualified and competent to come and do this. We will clearly define what the terms are. I mean, as a government, we will clearly, the terms and conditions of every contract, it's you that define it. So when we define that, we'll throw it open. Anybody who is competent, who is qualified, should come and bid for it.
Some allege that he was not even serious about it, that he kept quiet.
In case, let me tell you,
just at the twilight of the
I don't even know if there's even any plan. Is there any model? Is there any building plan?
No, there was. They said that
all these details.
Jais Bank will come. It's like they will build. It belongs to Plateau State exclusive, but they will take some shops, sell them, recover their money, and then everything belongs to Plateau State. But somebody went to court and said, no, you can't do this. And this,
like I told
things
you,
like this have been done in other states.
Like I told you, it depends on his own approach.
Okay.
I've told you, the Islamic Development Bank has funded projects in Christian countries and in Christian communities. This is an Islamic Development Bank. It has nothing to do with religion. It's purely economic issue.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So the issue of religion does not arise. And that's why I'm telling you, if you do things proper and there's due process in everything that you do, and you are transparent, you are honest about it, you are accountable, I'm assuring you, people will not read religious meanings into it.
Do you think you will convince people now? Because Along is showcasing some legacy projects.
What are the legacy projects? Which project has he commissioned?
Well, he's building bridge at British America. He completed many of the projects.
Which projects
left behind, like the Yakubu Gowon.
That's the only project he completed. I don't know of any other project he completed. And that one started, I think, from somewhere around NASCO headquarters down to,
Are you trying to say he didn't do anything?
For me, he would have done far and much better than what he did. In terms of capital projects and development, can you compare him with Jang? You can't compare him with Jang. In terms
Jang
of
was
physical,
better.
yes, in terms of physical development, you cannot compare him with
But
Jang.
in terms of bringing peace?
Yeah, that's another issue. Now, you are talking about projects. That's why I brought that.
Okay.
And the other side, it's, of course, leadership is not only about projects. You must have a human face as a leader. If you do not have a human face as a leader, you're going to be a catastrophe to the people. So in as much as you want to bring in capital projects and developments, you must make sure that peace is maintained, and you must carry everybody along. And that's why I was telling you, look, when your development projects and programs are well spelled out and you comply with due process, nobody is going to raise issues or questions. And I think that is what happened to the Jos main market issue. I think the whole thing was, shrouded in a lot of...
And you think you will revisit it when you get there?
Definitely we will do development for Plateau State. And of course, the Jos main market is our desire to make sure we develop the Jos main market. Not only the Jos main market, we should even be looking at beyond Jos main market. We should be thinking about economic model cities.
And that is the question I wanted to ask you, because we need to go national a bit. It's a general problem now. You have ambition to do so many things in Plateau State. But if you look at Nigeria at large, governors are now struggling to even pay salaries because they don't have the money. The money is not there. You were a tax collector at a time at Federal Inland Revenue Service. And generally, they said we are not good tax collectors. What are you going to do differently without impoverishing the people in Plateau State, to give them value, to give them, sense of belonging, to address their problems and challenges?
Now, that issue comes under our economic revitalization, which is the second agenda of our government, if we are elected.
Okay.
Now, I'll expatiate on that. And under that, we have to address the issue of job creation. We have to address the issue of sustainable debt management. We have to address the issue of our mining sector, the issue of tourism, and the issue of agricultural development, the issue of power supply. All these are natural endowments of Plateau State, which have not been well harnessed.
Okay.
And you cannot talk about achieving your development goals without planning adequately to make sure that your internally generated revenue is significant to carry on with the development. Luckily, I'm the only person out of all the governorship candidates that has worked as a tax officer.
Maybe
so
when we bring
them,
they will also tell us where they worked, different from.
Exactly, and that's why I'm coming. In the first place, the tax net need to be properly expanded. What do I mean by the tax net? How many people actually pay tax? Even the little tax that you pay, how many people actually pay tax? The second issue is that when you collect the tax, do you use it judiciously?
And I think that's why people don't want to pay.
Exactly. So I have a track record.
Will you convince them?
I have a track record. Look, I've worked as an auditor in the Federal Civil Service for 13 and a half years, almost 14 years. All the work that I do is to make sure that there's compliance to extant circulars and statutory regulations in terms of financial expenditure and management of people and resources. Okay. We will apply that skill, that experience, that knowledge in the governance of Plateau State.
Where are you going to get the people to work for
the
you?
internally generated revenue will expand the tax net, and we will make sure that the revenue is accounted for and is properly and judiciously utilized. And we would make sure that we put in place systems that would prevent leakages of the revenue. Yeah, because even the little you generate, if there are leakages, there are reef rats, there are rats everywhere and rodents, who would be interested in pilfering even the little IGR. We would make sure that these leakages, as an auditor, I'm well trained to understand even how tight a system is or how loose it is.
But Daria was an accountant, and he was just given a pardon few months ago. When he was in Plateau, people thought that he will use that experience to better the lots of the people. Now you are saying an auditor, you worked. How sure are we that people in Plateau State will trust you to deliver?
I have a different pedigree. Everywhere I go, I'm a top achiever. I'm result-oriented, without blowing my trumpet unnecessarily, with every sense of humility. I have told you this. You can check my track record, right from where I've worked up to where I am today. I've had opportunities to travel on official assignments. I have funds left that I have not spent, and I will refund back to my organization and account for it. I've been doing this more than once, more than twice. My discipline as an individual and my pedigree as a person, I'm different. This is Sunny Dawop.
We're approaching the end of the program, but there is this serious problem. Governors not willing to let the local governments thrive. The president, he said we shall allow monies meant for the local governments to get to them, but governors are hesitant. Will you support any president that comes who will give full freedom to local government administration?
Now, let me tell you, not only supporting presidents, in our own government, if we're elected, we will give local government autonomy in Plateau State. You can quote me on that. We will make sure that the local governments are properly accountable, they are responsible, and they account for their leadership, and we would make sure they get their resources.
Even if this did not happen in other states,
no,
you will do it in Plateau?
I'm telling you, I want this to be used as a test case in our administration if we're elected in Plateau State. We will grant local government its own autonomy financially and administratively.
Finally,
Because
some people will ask,
Yes.
that's, as a royal, you have worked in so many places. Why can't you go back and take over from your forefathers' stopped to be district head of Mangu?
well,
She's on a lighter
yeah,
note.
on a lighter note.
Or it is after you finish your tenure as governor?
I don't know, but honestly, I'm not thinking in that direction now. I am not thinking in that direction. For now, I want to serve the people of Plateau State as a governor if I'm given that opportunity.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Then what is your last statement to people of Plateau State?
Thank you very much. The people of Plateau State, let us think retrospectively. Let us reflect. Let us decide on the kind of plateau we want to bequeath to the future generations of Plateau people.
Thank you very much.
We must make sure that we discern very well and we look for leadership that is accountable, that is visionary, and that is transparent, and that has all the experience, the requisites
to deliver.
To deliver on good governance.
Thank you
We
very
should
much,
eschew
Dr. Sani Dawo.
religion.
We have come
and
to
politics
the
in this.
end of the program. You have a lot to say,
Thank you
but
very
we have
much.
to wrap it up here.
Thank
We wish you well in your endeavor. Viewers, we've been with Dr. Sani Dawo, the ADP gubernatorial candidate in Plateau State. We hope you enjoyed the program, hoping that you remain with us tomorrow for another edition of the program. For now, thank you very much. I'm Hamza Idris.